We've got a lot of activity on our attic radiant barrier video. What we've got is almost 30,000 views. It should surpass 30,000 views today. And we are like, oh my goodness, we can't believe that there's just so much going on with this radiant barrier video. The nice thing is that we've learned so much from your comments. You know, your viewers have been awesome. Subscribers have been coming in and watching this thing. And we've learned so much about it. It's been absolutely fantastic. So I thought what I would do, oh, thank you, honey, for the audio thumbs up. I thought what we'd do is just spend a few minutes out here. I'm going to be out here for about a half hour. And what I want to do is see if you've got any questions or concerns about radiant barrier. We can go ahead and answer some questions to see if there's anything we can help you with. We put it in our house. We've been talking about doing it here. And we just went through the process. It took about 55 man hours for us to do this sort of thing. And we've only had it in a couple months. And then we've been doing some traveling. So it's hard to know right now in the short term what our true energy savings are. So that remains to be seen, because when you're traveling, if your house is closed up for 2 weeks, yeah, you've got air conditioning running, but you're not running your clothes dryer, you're not running your coffee maker, you're not doing all that other stuff. So it changes your electric profile. So I'm going to put a chat out here. I just want to welcome you. And if you've got any comments about attic radiant barrier, we've been just blown away by the results. We are going to have a reduction in our electric bill. We figure it'll be about $10 to $15 a month on the cooling side, but we have to watch and quantify that. We already know that our air conditioning already runs less. When we get up in the morning, this morning we got up, it was 8:30 and the air conditioning hadn't turned on yet. Then it came on for a little bit. We were outside doing some weeding. We come back inside, the air conditioner's off again. And it wasn't like that before. And this is in the heat of summer. We're in high summer here in Southwest Florida. So it's pretty fantastic. So I just wanted to reach out. And if you guys have any experience with radiant barrier or any questions, hey, feel free to chat away. I'll be here for the next half hour. And thank you very much for those who just showed up in here. We got a couple people here. That's absolutely fantastic. I'm going to put this chat out. Hello, have you any experience with any kind of radiant barrier? And we're finding it to be a great product. We put it up in our truss work in our attic. We've got an awesome video. We'll have to link that below in the description. I didn't get a chance to do that yet. But if you take that and take a look at it, I think it'll answer a lot of questions for you. There's a lot of controversy with radiant barrier as well, and I think that's what makes it such an awesome topic as well. And that controversy is, hey, if you put this stuff in your house, it's going to cook your shingles. And then the other people say, well, it's just going to degrade. It's going to fall apart in 5 years. And let's see, what else do we get? It actually heats your attic up. It doesn't really cool it down. Where does the heat go? There's a lot of misunderstanding out there. So we found that by putting our video together, we're getting the conversation out and getting people talking. Hey, we're just real people. We decided to try it for ourselves. It was about a $1,200 project. Now, we could have maybe put it in for $500 to $700, but we wanted to buy our better quality radiant barrier. So that's why we bought what we did. But again, our air conditioner is not running as much now. It doesn't run as much at night. And in the mornings, I just mentioned a couple minutes ago here, it's 8:30 in the morning, the AC was not on yet. And then it went on for a little bit. We went out to do some weeding. We came back and the AC was off again. So it's not running as much as it used to. And because we've been traveling, and thank you for those who are just chimed in on the channel, I've got to look up at the computer and check the numbers. Appreciate you're here. Please feel free to chat away and chime in. Attic radiant barrier, that's what we're talking about. But we've been away for a couple weeks and then another week after that. So we haven't been home and our electricity usage hasn't been steady. So we can't yet quantify what savings we have. We're estimating maybe 10 to 15 bucks a month is going to be our savings. Now, we've done a lot of research on this stuff, the payback period for our $1,200 investment. Again, you could probably do this for $500, $300, $400, $700 and get cheaper products, but we bought something that was just a little more expensive, had more body, and it was easy to work with. Your payback period might be anywhere from 5 to 7 years. I hear 3 to 4 years. I hear 10 years. And remember, any of the savings that you get from a radiant barrier product is applying to the cooling side of your electric bill. When people say, hey, I save 40%, it's most likely not true that they save 40% in their electric bill. They might save 5 to 10% realistically, and they're saving on the cooling portion. And if you're like us, our house is not a super smart home, so we can't exactly quantify how much energy we use for our cooling needs. But I'll tell you, our electric bill was $40 less last month. But again, we were away for half the month. And then this electric bill is scheduled to be a little lower because we were away for almost a week. So, that factors into the equation. People say, well, this product's going to fall apart in 5 years, and all the effort you did is for naught because it's going to start breaking up and just floating down in your attic. It's junk. That's not the case. There are no chemicals in the radiant barrier. It's basically aluminum foil. It's a very stable product. It doesn't have anything in it that would break down over time. And it's not out in the sun. It's not, it may be getting heat because it's up in the attic, but it doesn't have the light, doesn't have the UV rays hitting it. So that's another thing to consider. So there's no breakdown there. And some people have said, well, they've had radiant barriers that they've used in their cars to keep, sun shields and stuff, sunshades. They can degrade. Well, a lot of that stuff is just cheap crap. As a matter of fact, what we did, we took a 4-foot section of radiant barrier. It's 2 feet wide. So we took. I'm not putting my hands right in the camera, but anyway, the point is, it's 4 feet wide, 2 feet tall, and I actually use it in the van. I put a white blanket on the dashboard, and then we put the radiant barrier and just lay it out. And I'll tell you what, it really keeps the van a lot cooler than it used to without the barrier. So we've been using a reflective barrier in the car too, and it makes a big difference. It really does. So you got those things happening where there's a lot of misconception out there. We had a commenter say that this is nothing more than snake oil and criticized us. They say the people that put a video out there, they don't give you costs, they don't give you savings, so they're just snake oil salesmen. We didn't go out and spend $1,200 to be snake oil salesmen. We didn't go out and spend $1,200 just to throw it away on a project that wouldn't work and a project that wouldn't last. I have a little water there. So if we're that kind of person and we're not going to do that to ourselves, we certainly aren't going to mislead others. So that's the kind of thing to think about here. And when you hear those kinds of comments, I'm going to guess most times it's from people who don't have experience with the radiant barrier. Now, we did have a roofer. We had a few conversations or comments with him today, and it was very, very good. He had experience where people have installed radiant barrier improperly, and it actually cooked the roofs. He said the worst thing people do is they take this radiant barrier and they staple it or adhere it right to the underdeck of the roof. So you've got your shingles, you got your roof deck, and then they put this barrier right up against it. And the problem with that is you need an air barrier between the reflective barrier and your underside of your roof in order for this stuff to work properly. So if you have that barrier, then you're going to get air movement and you're going to get the proper reflection of this radiant heat that comes into the attic. You won't get that if you're smashed right up against the roof. Now, the only exception to that is if you have a tile roof, or you've got a metal roof, or you've got furring strip purlins and stuff that are set up where the roof deck is pushed away. You've got some space. Apparently, I haven't done a lot of research on that yet because we've got an asphalt roof and our research has been limited to that. But that helps. I understand that spacing does help. You need some spacing between your roof substrate, your roof surface, and your roof deck and the barrier. So you can get it internally under the deck by doing what we did, putting our reflective barrier on the trusses, so it's 3.5 inches away from the roof deck, which is excellent. Or you can get it from your tiles or your metal shingles being raised up off the roof deck on the top. But anyway, that's one of the things. But anyway, radiant barrier. So you need an air gap to put this stuff in. If you have it installed improperly, as the roofer had mentioned, who's seen a lot of roofs and a lot of good installations, he said having an air gap is excellent. In our case, in addition to the radiant barrier, we have 4 attic fans. They're from AC Infinity, and they're T12 fans. They move 600 cubic feet a minute per fan. So we move 600 times 4, 2,400 cubic feet per minute through our attic. we had to add additional soffit venting so we could get more inside, because you can't just pull air out of an attic without having more makeup air come from your soffits. Otherwise, you're going to start sucking your AC out of your house through any of the penetrations in the ceiling, etc. So we did that sort of thing, and that really helps too. And the biggest thing that we've come up with is, you can't use that stuff, it'll cook your roof. If you install this stuff wrong, yes, it is possible to cook your shingles. We went up and did a test of our roof and a neighbor's roof at 12:30 in the afternoon. We got a video on that too. We'll throw that in the description when we edit this live presentation. And I ran up and down the roof. I walked up to the peak. I went down to the ridge. I went on the north side, the south side, east, west. Did the same thing on our neighbors. And we had the same temperatures. There were some temperatures where their roof was actually hotter than ours by a couple degrees. Then there were a couple sections where our roof was hotter by a couple degrees. So when we found that portions of our roof were actually cooler than our neighbor's roof, hey, that was pretty cool. So that was a wonderful thing to happen. Now, it was really hot up there. I did not, and I couldn't see. I had trouble seeing. So I only put together a short video of what test I put there on the north side of the house. And you just have to see the video. It's less than 2 minutes long. It really states the case that you shouldn't be cooking your shingles if you install radiant barrier correctly. Now, again, we're blown away. We've got, at this point, we're approaching, I have to check it now, we're approaching like 30,000 views. And it is just fascinating that many people, there's that much interest in the product. We've also gotten just a lot of people who've had criticisms about people that have put this stuff in, but I haven't heard people come in and say, hey, I put this stuff in, it didn't work. So that's pretty interesting. So I'm going to go out now and see if I can't dig that up here. Let's see, where are we at for views? Yeah, 30,128 views. So we've gone over 30,000 views. So this is obviously a very popular topic. It's a topic that people are passionate about. They really care about it, and they want to know the facts. And the facts, as we find them, are you can spend as much as you want on this. We spent about $1,200 total, and that covered the Reflectix barrier that we used. We bought 1,200 square feet of it. We installed about 1,150 square feet. We bought staples. We already had a couple of manual staple guns. We bought a cordless staple gun from Amazon. And it's a nice staple gun, but for us, it didn't really work out for the work because it was just too heavy and too bulky to get into some of the smaller spots. Once we had the longer runs, it was good to work with, but I actually found it to be easier to use the manual stapler. And that kind of brings us to sort of a lessons learned section here. When we went through this sort of thing, the stapler was heavy, the stapler was bulky, and you really had to press the stapler just right in order for the safety mechanism to work. Obviously, you don't want the thing to fire without a safety mechanism, but if you didn't put it just right on the particular Reflectix attic barrier, the radiant barrier that we bought, it wouldn't work properly. So it was rather frustrating. Now, if you buy a cheaper product that was just like a sheet of aluminum, this probably would have worked fine because you don't have any bubbles. We have like the bubble wrap in between two pieces of aluminum, so we've got a higher grade product that we purchased. So the stapler didn't work out too well. As for the width of the radiant barrier, we have trusses in our roof, and they're on 24-inch centers. So we bought 24-inch radiant barrier, and for the most part, it worked out. There were a lot of areas where we had to stop and do some custom cutting and just stuff things in. You could see that in the first video, the video about the radiant barrier with all these views. And that was a bit frustrating, but it just took time. But I'll tell you, as we went along, Mary and I were so amazed as we worked in the attic. Once we got past the halfway point on our project, we started to notice that the attic would take a lot longer to heat up in the morning, and it seems that it cools down more quickly at night because you don't have such a heat load, and that heat load would heat your underdeck. The heat load would heat all your trusses. We had our AC plenum. That plenum runs along the length of the attic like most Florida houses have. And that thing was 112, 115 degrees. Well, now it's like 90 degrees, 94 degrees on the outside of that. So you're not cooking the air. We don't get the blast of warm air, which feels like you're putting the heat on in the middle of the summer when your AC fires up. You get that blast of warm air until the cool air comes through and cools down your plenum. We don't have that anymore. So we know we're saving energy. We know our AC unit is not working as hard. And as for attic temperatures, you have to see, you've got to see the video to see the spreadsheet in about 4.5 minutes in. And it shows the temperatures we had on a certain day, the temperatures that we picked up on the roof deck, and the temperatures we had underneath the barrier. We had a 38-degree drop in temperature, and it was absolutely amazing. Now, I will say that we didn't just put radiant barrier in. We put it in and designed the installation so we didn't have dead spaces. We had a lot of spaces for air to move, and that's important to do because you don't want any moisture to build up, number one. Number two, you have to have air movement. It's just better for the roof. That's one of the reasons why we're not concerned about our shingles cooking. We didn't just set up a dead space with no way for the air to move out. Of course, it's going to get warm in that space because you're reflecting energy. But if we're in there reflecting energy and moving air out of the space, we're not going to have a problem with our asphalt shingles. So the other thing too is we already had attic fans. Our house is a little over 3 years old. We had it built for us. And shortly after it was built, we put these attic fans up there. So they've been running for over 3 years. And they do a fantastic job of lowering the roof temperature in the attic, or the roof deck temperature and the attic temperature overall. But, my wife will tell you, ever since we put the radiant barrier in and coupled it with those fans, it's just amazing. Right now, I'll take my phone here, and it'll probably be a little backwards for you if I show you the screen. I've got this app from AC Infinity, and it's going to be a little hard to get it to show. I'm no expert at doing this stuff, but right now our attic temperature is 98.9 degrees and 45% humidity. The fans are running at level 10, which you can see over here. So that's the app. We use this app and we monitor our attic temperatures. And we have had days where it's been 98 degrees, 100 degrees outside, and the attic temperature would be like 112, 113. So sometimes just 8 to 10 degrees over ambient temperature. Absolutely amazing. So if you don't think radiant barrier works in your attic, it absolutely works. You just have to install it correctly. So we are going to do a video coming up. We'll film it next week now that we've got some time. We're going to film the radiant barrier project, but show the fans this time. So you can watch our radiant barrier video, which is out there. And I see a couple of people out there. Thank you very much for joining us. What I want to do is we're just talking about attic radiant barrier. So I'm going to throw a chat out there. Looking to see if you can share any of your experience with radiant barrier, or a friend or another family or something. So we'll put that post out. Feel free to chat away. Feel free to listen. I'll be here for about another 10 minutes or so. And if you have any questions, go to our YouTube channel. You can just punch in Cameron Home Solutions LLC. You'll pick us up. And we're mainly a hurricane prep channel. We do heavy duty DIY and that sort of thing too. And we've gotten into some rather interesting projects, and people have been very excited to learn about. We've learned a lot too. But we're going back to the radiant barrier. Absolute change. We mentioned air conditioning. Our air conditioner doesn't run as much as it used to. 8:30 this morning, the air conditioner still hadn't turned on this morning. We went out, did a little weeding, the AC turned on. We came back and it turned off again. And then it turned on, then it turned off again. And it normally wouldn't do that. So it is definitely reducing the load on our AC system. At night, the AC hardly runs. It used to run a lot more. But now with the attic being cooled off, we are getting some fantastic numbers, and it's really working out well. Now, the trouble with radiant barrier, and you'll see a lot of this in the comments, and forgive me if I've already said this for those of you who are here watching, and again, welcome. Thank you for joining our channel here and for perhaps sharing a little bit of experience. You don't see huge savings with radiant barrier. It's not like you buy a $20 steak and a $10 steak, and you can see the difference in the quality. You can taste the quality. With radiant energy reflection, radiant barrier installation, it's a little different. You can put the money in, you can get the project going, but you're only going to save maybe 5 to 10% of your energy portion of your electric bill. In our case, we use obviously a lot of electricity in house here in Southwest Florida. We have an electric air conditioning system. We have an inverter system we put in last year, so it's pretty energy efficient, but it doesn't run as much. But with the savings, because we have a SEER 16 or 16 SEER unit, and it's a higher efficiency unit, and we're already saving there, so we're not going to see huge savings in our AC bill, but we figure 10 to 15 bucks a month on our bill on the cooling side. Now it's the cooling portion of our electric bill, and you'll see that being some of the criticisms out there. Hey, these people that put in the radiant barrier, they don't share the numbers. Well, the numbers don't just pop out of the air. It's not like you can look at your phone and say, I've saved X amount, unless you have a smart house, unless you can see that your AC system is pulling in less amperage than it used to before you install the radiant barrier. It's going to be kind of hard to see the savings. It's going to be a little bit, and it's going to take 4, 5, 7 years for payback, depending on how you did your project. So it's a criticism that people have, but the criticism comes from people who haven't put the project in. Now, we've got over 30,000 views on this video right now, and we're approaching 2,000 on the other video we did about radiant barrier, and not one comment. And we've had over 100 comments on one video, and we're getting some high numbers on the other. I can't remember, but we got a lot of people chiming in, which is exciting. And thank you guys for doing that. We appreciate it, because boy, we've learned so much. But we have never had somebody comment and said, hey, I put in radiant barrier and it sucks and it doesn't work and it's not good. We haven't had that. For the people that have chimed in who have experience with this radiant barrier, they said, yes, this stuff works fine. They're very happy with it, and they've noticed a difference. We've also had people that have chimed in and said, our roof is so complicated, our attic truss structure, it'd be hard to do something with radiant barrier. So they make other products. You can put reflective sprays up and that sort of thing, but they don't reflect 96 or 97% of the radiant energy like they do in with a foil product, with a foil-based product. But they can still save some energy. The other thing to think about is the savings. If you're in a northern climate, they don't exactly work that well. You don't garner a lot of savings because you just don't have a heat load that builds. But if you're in an extreme southern climate, like we're down here in subtropical Florida, Southwest Florida, down on the Gulf Coast, we're about 2 hours south of Tampa. So it's hot down here in Fort Myers, very hot down in this region. And it gets hotter still as you go down to Naples and 30 miles, 40 miles south into Marco Island. So we're going to see the benefits here. The closer to the equator you get, the bigger the benefit you're going to see. But even if you're in a moderate state, we've heard of people living in northern Texas, southern Texas. They get some heat there. They've had some very, very good results with this stuff. We had a guy who commented this morning. He's got a white roof, and he put the radiant barrier in anyway, and he still notices a change. Now his roof reflects most of the stuff anyway, so his attic is cool. But he did pick up a little more savings. It wasn't huge, but it does make a difference. And for us, it's comfort. Our AC doesn't run as much as it used to. When it turns on, because our AC plenum is located it's right down the attic, and just typical in a Florida home, and then the ductwork spreads out. We don't get a blast of hot air when the AC first kicks on. It stays cool. It's not like it feels like somebody turned on the heat and then the AC comes through. Well, that's because the plenum has been heated up. It doesn't heat up in our house anymore like it used to. It's not 115 degrees. It's like 90 degrees, under 90 degrees up there. So it makes a difference. The AC runs easier. You don't hear it as much, so that's comfortable. And the comfort level in the attic. We spend a lot of time. Hey, everybody, I see a couple of people out there. Thank you for joining us here. We'll be out here for about another 5 minutes. The attic is comfortable. You walk up in the attic and you're not like, oh my God, this is terrible. So we can go up and get tools. We're up in the attic multiple times a day, grabbing tools, bringing them down for jobs, putting them up, doing different things. And it makes such a difference. You don't come down, even on a humid day, you're not coming down all sweaty and just, you go up there for 10 minutes, you have to come down, change your t-shirt, change your shorts, change before you go into a job because you're all wet and sticky. It's not like that now. And that is totally amazing. Now, when it gets really hot in the afternoons, like I said, we'll get up to, it'll get up to 104. It'll get up to 108, 112 degrees if it's 100 degrees outside. It depends on the cloud cover and everything. But you can still go up in the attic and it's dry. It's not sticky and humid. You don't come down all sweaty. The temperature drop has been amazing. We had 138, 143 degrees up there and higher before we would measure it, before we put the attic fans in. So this stuff absolutely works. The biggest thing is you just have to put it in right. So that's why we put the video together. We appreciate your being here and talking about this and listening. We appreciate the comments. The biggest thing, oh man, the biggest thing has been the comments from the people that have come by and said, hey, this is great, great stuff. I have experience with it. We had a guy, I think it was yesterday, who said, you've it might have been Friday. You're like the final thing to get me up moving. So I'm going to go ahead and do this barrier in my house. Well, what better motivation can you give to somebody? We're just a husband and wife. We're doing our thing, making our house better. And we filmed some of the work that we did. We put it together as a video. It's been very helpful for people. All we can do is do what we've always done. We always try to pay it forward because we've helped a lot of people over the years. We've had a lot of people help us. So this is a case where if we can put a video together, put it out there, hey, this is where YouTube is like the greatest resource. There's a lot of dumb entertainment out there, but we try to work in the smart entertainment realm. And, humor is fun. It's always good to go to that stuff now and again. But this is serious stuff. The radiant barrier works. It's been proven. Any of the claims that people have brought up, we've already researched them. Any of the new stuff, we research it and check it. And we're very happy with the product. And if you want to do something like this for your house and you live in a climate where you could benefit from it, by all means, do the job. It is absolutely fantastic. We did it ourselves. Again, it cost us a little under $1,200 to do, but we bought a superior product. You can do this for probably half the price, a little less than half the price. Well, a little more than half the price, $600-700 maybe. And ours is about 1,200 feet of area. So we ended up installing all but 50 square feet of it, about 50, maybe 40. So that's how it worked out for us. But it wasn't we did the work ourselves. Mary and I worked well together up there, and we just did it a little at a time. 2 hours here, 3 hours there, 4 hours there, an hour there. And it took us, we maybe did it in the course of a month. Then we put in about 55 man hours. It's done. If you hire it out, maybe it'll cost you $3,000 to do. So your payback period is going to be a little longer, but you're going to get the comfort level. We'll be out here for another minute here. We got less than a minute to go, but we put it in for the comfort level. We put it in because it does assist our fans and it assists in reducing the heat load that we had on our attic. Our roof deck is as hot as it is, but we have air moving through. We've got radiant heat being reflected out through. So we're not getting the heat passing down into our AC plenum like it used to. Our 2x4 trusses aren't heating up like they used to. The catwalk that we built up there and the flooring that we put in is not heating up like it used to. And here's something important. The insulation that we already have in the attic, the top surface is not heating up like it used to because the heating load is not there. So if the heating load is not there, then that insulation doesn't have to work so hard. Not that it really works, but you're not having that radiant stuff come through the insulation. It's blown in fiberglass. We have R30 insulation. It's 13 inches of blown in fiberglass up there. So you're not getting that heat gain down into your house. So whatever you do to reduce the heat load in a house in a southern climate, it works. It does really well. That's my time. I'm done. Dan from Cameron Home Solutions LLC. We run a hurricane prep channel here on YouTube. And obviously we don't have much. Well, it's always good to do hurricane prepping, but we don't have storms to talk about at this point. If something ramps up, we'll get right into that. But we also do a lot of heavy DIY, some very interesting DIY projects. And that's what this is about. We appreciate you coming by, and we'd love to have you subscribe. You can get on our website and check out our books that we've got out on Amazon. We've got a couple of books for hurricane prep. We've got a great cookbook that Mary wrote, and we've also got our flagship book, Real Life Hurricane Prep. So you can check that out. You can dig up our phone number from those materials and contact us if you need to. You have our email on the homepage of our YouTube site. Just go digging for it. You can contact us. So we do talk regularly with our viewers. We appreciate your time. We'll see you watch another video, and we hope to have you subscribe and comment and join the family. Thank you very much.